Did you ever get the feeling that something's wrong? Your heart is heavy and the nights are long. You no longer hear him speak. This ain't the way that it should be.
Again, you give yourself a raise by having money savings. And by the way, hey, we're actually being taped right now. So
I was wondering, the camera was upside down for a minute.
So are we, topsy-turvy. We're upside down too. So let's go ahead and get started with our guest. And I always look forward to talking with this guy. Again, ways you can save money and hey, the more money you save, the more tithe you can give to church, right? So that's just the way it goes. But we have with us a very special guy. And Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Okay, we have a few questions for you, and then again, I'm going to introduce you to our friend here, Frankie King, who is also on a talk show with me called Living on the Edge with Frankie and Donna. Hey, Frankie.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Good. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to let you start with the first question if you'd like to.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have a friend, Charlotte, who she doesn't have a radio in her house, but she was going to go out to the car so she could listen to
Oh,
this.
okay, cool.
Hey, Jonathan.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today, Frankie?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
I have a friend. Her name is Charlotte, and hi, Charlotte, if you're listening. And she has recently come into some money through an estate, and she is wondering about an annuity. And
I can do a fixed annuity, and what that means is it would not be market, it would not be fluctuating with the market as far as the rate.
Right.
Once we would lock in the annuity and lock in the rate, she would have a good annuity that would take care of her, and there would be no risk for loss.
That sounds wonderful. Okay, what if she needed to take out a lump sum? Do you have an annuity like that?
Basically, all of them. You can do that on all of them. Of course, let's just go through the basics here. If you were doing like a 403B, that's a retirement through work. You can always pull some from that, but there is an IRS penalty of around 20% when that happens. If you were to put the money into a Roth IRA, there's a limit to what you can put in every year. You can only put in $5,500 a year, and you can withdraw on that when you're 59 and a half without government penalty. But you put in an annuity, that's your money. However, when it goes into a tax-sheltered environment like an annuity, there would be an IRS penalty if you withdrew from it.
Okay. Sounds great. She
leave it to the government,
I know. Well,
Love
thank
that.
you for that, and I hope Charlotte is listening.
Yes, thank you for the question.
Well, I just wanted to mention this also about Jonathan. Jonathan is very committed to our area and to the community. So he also is a chaplain. You want to talk about that for a few minutes, Jonathan?
Sure. Chaplain at Shepherd's Cove Hospice in Albertville. I'm over all of the volunteer chaplains, and I'm the staff chaplain there at the Cove. And so we service the 9-county area. So I'm on the road. I will actually be in the Scottsboro area this Tuesday. So I'm anywhere from Scottsboro to Gadsden to parts unknown. So it's a blessing. And in addition to that, I minister music and worship at Mount Calvary Baptist in Albertville.
Anything else? Do you have at least 5 minutes that we could just add something else onto what you do?
Yeah, and add to that coaching 12 and under softball.
There you go. I knew there had to be something else. Absolutely.
We have a lot in common then, because I have an insurance license, a real estate license. I sing in a gospel group. I write for the group. And then I help my husband run his business. So I think we're in a race.
and she's a talk
Hey, I'm
show
telling
host.
you, I think we are. And,
Absolutely. Now,
we
and
just have to look forward to the prize that's ahead of us
That's
eternally.
right. That's what I'm focused on. That's for sure.
I wanted to mention also that Jonathan's telephone number, if you'd like to go ahead and give him a call, the number is 256-558-6052. So if you have a question for Jonathan. Now, I ask all of our listeners out there to bring some questions in. Now you have to get this, when you talk to like several thousand folks who are listening in, you're going to get a lot of the same question. So what I've done, I took a few of them that I thought we'd be able to get to today. And one of them is, do you have any type life policies for benefits, such as savings with interest?
Absolutely.
And the answer to that question would be yes.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a universal life policy.
Mm-hmm.
And there again, a universal life policy would be a fixed rate that you would have. Let's say you decided that you wanted a $200,000 policy. You would go with a universal life policy with a fixed rate. And with that fixed rate, there would not be a penalty or anything like that. If the market went south, the benefit would grow as you contributed to your policy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Trying to come up with all the proper words, and sometimes they don't come out right.
Hey, talk cornbread English. We understand that. You know what cornbread English is?
I can't say that I do, but I know what mountain English is.
There you go. Same thing.
There you go.
Jonathan.
But, I would recommend in that situation a universal life policy. Go with a fixed rate. That way you're not up the creek. Now, some folks like to go with a variable rate, but that also can affect your payments as well. And if the market goes south, your payment goes higher to make up for market loss. If the market's doing great, your payment lowers. But you're really a riverboat gambler if you go with something like that. That's the same thing with an annuity. If you go with a variable annuity, it goes up when the market's great, and it goes south when the market goes south. Mm-hmm. And the market's been decent here lately, mm-hmm. but that doesn't mean it's going to stay decent.
Yeah, what goes up comes down, right?
That's exactly right.
Jonathan, how do you feel about, what would you do with, say, $150,000 as far as diversifying?
Diversifying, I tell you what, the best thing you can do in that situation is when you have that kind of money, I would put it in an annuity. And I would actually go with a fixed annuity to where the investment broker that you would be working with could diversify the funds, put them in funds that are going to be successful. Mm-hmm. In other words, you need somebody conservative to pull that off and to do it right. Mm-hmm. Because if you get someone that doesn't really know what they're doing, you can lose $100,000 in 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
That's scary.
Yeah.
It is very scary. And
that money's too hard to come by.
In reality, what happened a few years back when the market crashed is everybody was trying to beat the system. And, anytime you try to beat the system, normally the system's going to beat you back. And that's why people lost millions and millions of dollars.
Well, Frankie, did you lose millions and millions of dollars?
No, I didn't, because I didn't have that much to lose.
Okay. Well, I didn't either, so. But I almost put everybody on the level field, didn't it?
Chaplain, coach they don't have that kind of money to lose either. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's the neat thing about that. Now, there's another question that was brought. Do you want to go ahead and handle that one? It was about borrowing money against the insurance policy.
Okay, the second question is, can I borrow money against a life insurance policy?
You sure can. If it's a universal policy, you have that option. You can actually, through a universal life, you can do withdrawals through simple withdrawals and policy loans. You can take a loan against your policy and then pay it back. with a whole life policy. Same system. You can withdraw money, and you can also take a policy loan and then repay it back. Now, you cannot with a term life policy.
Right.
You know, term is just simply a term. But you can with a universal, and you can with a whole life.
And people, when they're close to retirement age, the whole life and universal, they're kind of expensive for folks like that, right? But
that is correct. If you're nearing retirement age, the only thing that I would use a whole life policy for if you were nearing retirement would be to get some type of policy just for burial expenses, just for your funeral and graveyard, such as that. And as Donna and I have spoken about this and talked about this in times past, your average cost of a funeral, and this is a basic normal funeral now, counting the vault and the graveyard, if it's a country graveyard especially, you're going to look at putting out between $8,000 and $10,000.
Wow. Can't afford to
And
live
that's
or
just
die,
for a
can you,
normal,
these days?
You know, if you want the bells and whistles, you can spend as much as $25,000.
Wow. Wow. Are more people being cremated now because of that? Are more people being cremated now because of that?
I would dare say that is the way that folks are going now. And if you're going to go for cremation, you're still looking, if you were to do everything the way the funeral home says, you would still spend anywhere between $1,000 and $2,500 even on a cremation.
Another reason I thought that might be the trend is, you know how we do decorations and stuff like that, you know, and fewer people are going to the decorations. So, I mean, I see that playing out in 10, 20 years.
If it lasts 20 years, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, well, if the world is still standing 20 years, I agree with you.
I'm with you there.
Absolutely.
You never know. There's still a lot of good people around.
There is. You know, because, I mean, like when I was graduated from high school back in '77, I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to get married and have kids and college and all this, have a job and all that, because I thought the world everybody thought it was terrible then. But my goodness, it really has changed a lot.
Well,
but gotten worse.
But
Yeah.
we are, you know, and we're getting off on theology here, but we are seeing a convergence. We're seeing Israel, and we're seeing the church going into apostasy. We're seeing violence everywhere, anarchy, just like the Bible says it would be. So now we're in a different time. It's not just one thing. It's everything is converging all at once.
Well, and then also you're thinking about...
Matthew 24 is coming into definite play now.
It is. And you're seeing intelligence. I mean, now you're seeing as
And
far
that's
as
another
book
sign.
learning, people are like
Another sign.
crazy smart book learning. But as far as common sense and getting out of the rain and using an umbrella, you're seeing that decrease big time.
I was just telling Donna before we went on the air, we were talking about different situations where people were less than wise. And the word in the Bible that's used, professing to be wise, that became as fools, that word translates as moron.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when I'm driving down the road and somebody pulls out in front of me and turns left without giving the signal, and I say, moron. Same difference, right?
That's exactly right.
I might be a little nicer than that. Not really. I've got one more question before we go into break, and we're not going to be able to get into all of these, but this is one that says, can I borrow against the policy? But now this is a good one. It says, if I get a life insurance policy based on an illness and years pass and I'm over the illness, can the rate go down? Is that possible?
Unfortunately, life insurance companies are very fickle when it comes to this. If they see that an individual has cancer, all right, they will automatically not cover them. Because there's a battery of questions that they ask. If an individual has Parkinson's, if an individual has any type of insurance policy based on an illness. They would have to go with a guaranteed issue policy, which means the death benefit would be smaller because it would be a higher risk for the company, and there would be a 2-year waiting period before that death benefit actually went into existence. And then it would remain the same. The rate would remain the same whether the illness got stronger or the illness ceased to exist. At that point in time, they might could try and reapply for another policy and then replace that policy. But 99.975% of the time, they would get what I hear all the time for me is that you'd be uninsurable for life insurance unless you got a guaranteed issue policy.
Well, and let me ask you a question. Like when you apply for insurance, whether that be life or anything, they always ask, did your parents have cancer or, anyone close to the family? So could that be the cause maybe my policy would be more expensive?
Not necessarily. They simply ask those questions. See, when an insurance company issues a policy either on you or I, they are taking a risk. So what they want to know by asking all of these questions, A, they're checking everybody's honesty, but B, they're checking the risk. They're seeing they're doing a risk assessment just to see, okay, is this going to be somebody that's going to live for a while? They're trying to be God. You don't know the truth. They want to know if you're going to live for a while, but at the same time they also want to know, are they going to kick the bucket within 2 days after the policy is issued and we get no money in return back?
Yeah.
So that's the that's the basis of that.
Well, I've got a question. Since the world is changing, and I know there's always something on there that says, ask if you have a college degree and stuff like that. Could there be another box inserted that I don't have a college degree, but I have some common sense? Because common sense.
You would think so. But, most of the companies
I have a little bit,
have
not
written
much.
forward, they don't have that beloved question. They do ask yearly income. That way someone doesn't purchase a $3 million insurance policy when they're only making $25,000 a year.
Right.
They have a certain formula as to the amount of money that you can apply for on a policy.
Jonathan, we're going to have to go into a commercial break. We went just a little bit past. Can you hang around and let's finish up the questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, everybody, let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home. Thank you so much for listening to us every day, Monday through Friday, as I get to ride home with you. Also, Frankie King, who is the host of Living on the Edge with Frankie and Donna. Anything I've ever been associated with had the word edge in it, other than this show right here, really. The Edge, The Woman's Edge, those were some top shows.
How about that?
Isn't that crazy? And then when you said Living on the Edge, I'm like, what? How does she know about this? So anyways, but it's a fun world. In just a few minutes, we're going to get back with Jonathan and Jonathan Powell, the owner of Jonathan Powell Agency. We'll be talking with him in just a minute. But I wanted to also mention another new advertiser we have, and that's Bruce's Foodland. They have locations all around here. We're right here in Scottsboro and other areas as well. But they're running a special on their ground beef. Now, Jonathan, you really need to listen to this recipe in case you're put in the doghouse sometime. You'll win her over with this recipe, and it's on meatloaf. Do you like meatloaf?
Oh, I can eat meatloaf all day long.
Well, I got an easy one. You cannot go wrong on this one. And by the way, at Bruce's Foodland, they have ground beef, and I bought some of it, by the way, and they have it on sale for $1.99 a pound. So this is what you want. You want 1.5 pounds of ground beef. Again, on sale, $1.99. Get the family pack. You'll come out better that way. You need 1 egg, 1 onion chopped. I like mine finely chopped. And then 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of dried bread crumbs. Salt and pepper just to taste. So what you'll do is also add 2 tablespoons. This is the kicker right here. Brown sugar.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of prepared mustard, and 1/3 cup of ketchup. So what you'll do, you got to preheat the oven now. That's real important. So preheat to 350 degrees. In a large bowl, combine the beef, the onion, egg, milk, and bread, or you can use cracker crumbs if you'd rather do that. Season with salt and pepper to taste, and then place in a lightly greased 5 by 9 inch loaf pan, or you can form it into a loaf and place it on a lightly greased 9.13 inch baking dish. Now in a separate bowl, what you want to do is combine the brown sugar, that's that topping that goes on top, the brown sugar, the mustard, and ketchup, mix it well, and then pour it over the meatloaf. Pour it in that oven, 350 degrees, for 1 hour. That's all you do, and it comes out really good. Now, some people don't want the ketchup or the tomato sauce on top. I've always liked it on top of mine. So it turns out really good.
Oh, that sounds good.
It does. Now, I wanted to
can live with
mention,
that.
now go to brucesfoodland.com. Make sure you do that. And they've been home-owned and operated, by the way, since 1979. You've got locations in Fort Payne, Rainsville, Section, Ider, Fife, Scottsboro, and let's see, Hazel Green, and also Stevenson. They've got a location out there as well. So they're all around us, and I kind of laugh about this, Jonathan. On my way home, I could stop by the one over here in Scottsboro, and then let's say I forget something. Well, I pass right by it again on Section. And then, oops, I still forgot something.
That
Well, I can go to
comes in
Rainsville. And then Rainsville, there I've got one in Fife. So I can't mess up. I mean, you know how it is.
that's
You'll
right.
make a list, forget the list, leave it at home, and you're like, oh, I can do it by memory. I never do it by memory. I'll get things I don't need and forget most of the stuff I do need. So anyway, there's one on the way home in Geraldine everywhere. So I've got my ground covered. So we have with us right now another new sponsor here to the station, and this is Jonathan Powell, Jonathan Powell Agency. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
It's always a pleasure to be on with you, and just to let folks know that we're alive and we have a business, and with their support, we can still have a business.
Absolutely. Now, you can get in contact with Jonathan at 256-558-6052. Now, I have another question, and by the way, if you'd still like for him to answer a question for you, you can send me a text. My text number is 256-659-4319, and these are questions for Jonathan Powell, Jonathan Powell Agency. So this next question is this. It says, can I get a policy in case of my death and not tell my wife? You know, in case she ever wants to knock me off, ha-ha.
See, to me, this is a quality question.
You got it.
And it really discusses beneficiaries. Let's just say an individual wanted to get a policy. Well, it's that individual's right to get that policy, and that person has the right to name the beneficiary. And if he didn't want to tell his wife, now I would get shot if I didn't tell mine, because that would be money coming out of my family's pocket.
You're right.
But if this individual wanted to get a policy, he could do that, and then he or she could give the beneficiary, whoever that may be. It may be children, it may be a coworker, whatever the case may be. It's that individual's right to name the beneficiary.
Okay.
So
you don't have to ask anybody's permission or anything like that. You just go get one. Well, on the other hand, could she take one out on him and he don't know it?
right, it's a two-way street.
Okay.
They both, it can happen that way.
In case she's listening.
Yeah, because bottom line, you can take one out. You have the right to name who gets the money.
Okay. Alrighty. I think Frankie's got you one right now too. Frankie.
Okay.
Yeah, what if I have this policy and then I lose my job and I'm not able to pay the premiums? Have I just lost it, or is there a way that I can keep the policy?
Actually, with the volatile job situation, the volatile economy, what is taking place is that insurance companies have realized that this is an issue. And many companies now have a rider that you can put on the policy just for maybe a few dollars a month that would be to where it would pay your premiums for you for a certain amount of time until you got back on your feet. And you would not lose what you had put in.
Would you have to pay back the premium?
No, because the insurance, the rider that you took out when you took the policy initially, that's just part of your insurance policy.
So you've been
In
paying
other words,
on it
you're
anyway.
taking insurance on the insurance to where if that
I
took
see.
place,
Yeah.
and it would pay your premium.
Well, that looks like to me anybody would get that rider.
Yeah.
How much is it a month, or does that vary?
If you're looking at, it's just according to the initial premium amount. When I say loosely a couple of dollars a month, I mean literally. You're looking anywhere between $2 and $8 a month for that, in addition to your monthly premium. And see, over time, that would accumulate, and it would pay your premium.
Yeah, that would. Are there any other riders that you can think of that folks might need? Something we just don't think about.
Oh, absolutely. There's a terminal illness rider. There's of course, a critical illness, terminal illness, disability. There's all types of riders that you could put on an insurance policy. Let's say you do lose your job. There's a return of income, almost a disability type rider that would pay you. What insurance companies have done now, one in particular, Transamerica, they have what they call living benefits, and it's a term life policy, and you can get it for 10, 15, 20, 25, or 30 years. And with the living benefit policy, you can withdraw those living benefits. Let's just say you needed long-term care. Let's say you needed to go to the local nursing home. Well, that policy, as long as you're current on your premiums, and you got a $350,000 policy for that, every few years, or as long as you have a terminal illness or a chronic illness, or you have to go into long-term care, you can withdraw from that policy, and that policy will pay for your long-term care.
Well, that sounds like a good rider everybody needs.
Right, and the living benefits policy it's really the new wave of life insurance, because it really eliminates taking out a very, very expensive long-term care policy that you may or may not use, and just by taking a regular term life with this living benefits plan, I'm telling you, it's a world changer in the industry. And a lot of folks are taking advantage of it. And it's well worth the money spent, especially if you end up getting sick, have a long-term illness, you're stuck in a nursing home or an assisted living facility. Because, granted, you would be withdrawing from your death benefit, but it would be paying the bills, and it would be a policy well worth taking.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where that's a win-win for everybody there. Absolutely.
Right. It really is.
Now, on the other hand, the next question says, if I get a policy with you, I'm in excellent health right now, but later maybe get cancer. Will the rate go up?
No. Once you are accepted by the company, that rate is locked in until eternity.
Okay. So the healthy young people need to go ahead and get it now.
They need to get it now. And the younger you are, the cheaper it is.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It really does.
What if it's a term policy though you would have to renew those at a certain time, and so you would be paying a bigger rate, and you would, because of
That is correct.
Right.
Let's just say you purchased, let's say you're 25 years old, you're in perfect health, and you purchased a 30-year term policy. In the industry, what we recommend is if you're at a younger age, in other words, mid-20s, mid-30s, within a couple of years of that term, you can convert that to a whole life policy, and the premiums at that point in time would be stable until.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you run out of the term, your premiums will gradually go up.
Okay. All right. Frankie, you want to go with the next one?
Did we just do 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I am serious about this question.
And every time somebody says that, I'm like, sure, now this is going to be a fun one.
Can I get a policy for my wife and my ex-wife, just for the kids I had with each of them? Or do I get a policy for the kids? Or do I just need to get a policy for the kids?
You know, that actually is a very good question,
I think so too.
and it brings in a lot of different issues. He can get a policy for his wife with no problem, and he could set either he as the beneficiary or the kids as contingent beneficiaries with him. There would be no problem with that whatsoever. Now, for his ex-wife, that would be a challenge because he would end up being a third-party payer, and the majority of insurance companies now do not allow a third-party payer to pay for an insurance policy. So in that case, if he was just going to get one for his ex-wife, I would recommend just getting a policy for the kids.
Yeah, because I might want to think about, like, your ex. I mean, watch out for falling pianos. You know what I mean? But don't let them know about it. Could you do it and just not let them know about it?
But I understand what he's saying, though.
Yeah, I do too.
Because
I get it.
he wants to take care of his kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's a wise guy. I really do.
So he could actually, now here's what he could do. If he's going to take the policy out on him, he could take one policy out and designate his wife as the beneficiary, and kids that he had with her as contingent, and then he could take another policy out with another company and put the kids that he had with his ex-wife as the beneficiaries.
Mm-hmm.
So he could kill two birds with one stone by getting two policies, and that would answer his question.
Well, see, I can say, we're a different world now. We have a lot of blended families. In fact, most families now are blended families.
That's
So
right.
this at least a whole new set of questions than we had back in the 1950s. You would have probably
absolutely.
never had that question back then. But so what kind of questions are you hearing now, Jonathan?
I'm hearing a lot of questions just like that.
Okay.
But what happens, and this unfortunately takes place, people wait too late to purchase life insurance.
Yeah.
It's just like people wait too late to accept Christ.
Yeah, same deal.
Yeah, but people wait too late to purchase life insurance. They don't understand that, hey, it's as affordable as going to McDonald's, getting a Big Mac combo, supersize it with a Coke, doing that once a week, 4 weeks a month. That's how much an insurance policy is going to cost you.
And you might live longer because you're not spending that money on the Big Mac every day.
That's it. And, that you'll be healthy because you won't have the Big Mac fries and Coke.
There you
You'll
go.
be healthier. You'll lose about 20 pounds in doing that, but at the same time, you're preparing your family financially for the future.
Yeah.
Now, naturally, when we have senior
Jonathan, you know how my mind works, so this is a Donna question here. Would it actually be cheaper? What if I just got a burial policy? What's the most I could get with a burial policy? Instead, I'm up there in age, and so I just haven't gotten life insurance. Would it be actually more beneficial for my family and me to get, would it be cheaper every month just to get the burial policy instead of the death benefits?
Well, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you go with a whole life policy, which that's what a final expense policy is, it's a whole life.
Mm-hmm.
The higher the amount, the higher the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just use a ballpark age.
Okay.
Let's say an individual's 55 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They've got good health, things are going good for them. For that individual, I would recommend going with a 30-year term.
Okay.
Because that 30-year term is going to be cheaper than a whole life policy. Plus, you can get more bang for your buck.
Okay.
And the vast majority of folks, let's say they're 55, they may not make it 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that policy might end up paying off.
I think the Lord's going to come back before then anyway, myself.
Oh,
What
I
do you
do too. I mean, there's no question about that.
It really could be any time.
That's right. But hey, anytime anybody has any questions, they can call me at that number, 256-558-6052, or they can text me at that same number.
Okay.
And that text will come straight to me. My Facebook page is just simply entitled Jonathan Powell Agency, and Jonathan, the way it's spelled in the Bible, and send me a message there. We'll get back to them as soon as we can. And I'm blessed to be a part of the Crump Insurance Group now, which is a national agency. So I'm able to broker out any company, which allows me to give cheaper rates to my customers.
That's awesome.
And times are changing, and they're changing for the better.
Yeah, that's true. And guys, this is somebody that you can trust, okay? This is Jonathan, and you can trust him. He'll tell you, the bare facts, the way it is, the good, bad, and the ugly. Isn't that right, Jonathan?
Yes, ma'am. That's why we try to do our business. We do our best to work upon the principles of God's Word, and that just simply means we treat people the way that we would want to be treated ourselves. Mm-hmm. The old golden rule. Mm-hmm. And we work on honesty and integrity. If you can afford something, I'll tell you you can afford it. But if you can't afford it, I'll also tell you that too.
Well, Jonathan, the world
I'm
has changed
not going to
too.
put a person in a position to where they make way too large of a sacrifice that they can't pull off.
Well, is this something you could do online? Because people are busy. I know probably your next door neighbor is so busy they couldn't go by and see you.
And even a whole life policy.
Okay.
Yes, we could do the application online.
Okay, that saves people a lot of
If someone
time.
were to call me today, we could do the application online. I ask all the questions, and then what we would do is I would email you the policy that we had just typed up and drew up, and then you would read over it. You would electronically sign it.
Mm-hmm.
You would send it back to me, and then I would electronically sign it and send it to the company.
That's awesome. So I wouldn't have to worry about rushing to get there before closing time and stuff. I can just do it on my leisure.
That's right.
Well, that's the way to do it. My goodness. Okay, call him, 256-558-6052, and that's Jonathan Powell, Jonathan Powell Agency. Jonathan, thank you for being on the show. It's always good talking to you.
Hey, always, it's a pleasure.
I was kind of hoping you'd come down here and voice your own commercial, though. You're not going to do that.
Oh, hey, I'm going to be in town on Tuesday this week, so I'll see you.
All right. Look forward to it. Okay, everybody, let's go ahead. Thank you, Jonathan, for being on the show. You have a good one, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Everybody,
Slip away, slip away.